It's on your shirt. I just noticed that. That's cute. I like that.
Yeah, they
I
do.
like
Trying to be
that.
warm.
And you got on a
I
cute
like
yellow
that.
cardigan, Keisha, because I love cardigans. I love yellow. So everybody looking gorgeous. So how's it going, y'all?
We're hanging in there today, just thinking about craziness out in the world today, It's just a
Right.
lot going on.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this episode we need to just touch on. We just need to touch on it because I'm sure that we don't want to be in the crosshairs of this craziness. This episode is I'll just give a disclosure. This is not to condemn anybody. We're not a court. We're just speaking our opinions as mothers, as parents, and of people who we have already raised and are out here grown now. Um,
Concerned citizens, as
yeah,
concerned citizens.
exactly. So the situation got just a little backstory, and y'all might have to jump in here. A pregnant mother and her two children in Chicago was jumped, and I'm just going to say jumped by a group of juveniles. And I'll just leave them at that. They're young juveniles. They're not kindergartners, but they're juvenile children. Jumped them and beat them. Um, it was a lot of backlash afterwards about I guess the kids' responsibilities, the parents' responsibilities, and who's responsible when your children go out and do some heinous acts like this. Because the mom was hurt, you know what I mean? Her children was hurt. Now, and we all grew up in this. We knew that kids, hell, at one point I almost got jumped when I was younger. You know what I mean? But I wasn't being jumped by an adult, and I wasn't involved in being jumping other people. But that to me is, I'm not condoning it, but jumping kids, that happens. You see what I'm saying? But it was a mom and she was pregnant. You know what I mean? And the kids jumped her too. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to talk about this because it was follow up email. I mean, not email. Excuse me. Follow up videos where one lady who was the parent of this young girl who was apparently involved in this, she was trying to get her daughter to apologize, but the parent was still intervening, saying that, hey, y'all, remember, she's still a child. And it's hard to look at her as a child when you fighting adults. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little confused, but that's follow up emails. That's the only one I saw. I don't know if y'all saw any follow up ones, but I just wanted to have a conversation about that because we all have grown kids and y'all all have grandkids. I don't have grandkids yet. I know the Lord will bless me with them, but I don't have grandkids yet. But that could happen. That could happen. Like, kids get into stuff. So who going first? Because this is deep.
I don't have a lot to say, but I know respect is just different.
Yeah.
Like I don't even the kids much
Mhm.
too much because I'm gonna be the one jumping their ass because they just rude and they I don't say they should get abused by us because we're elders, but even a
Right.
simple question you ask them, they just nasty. And that wasn't we couldn't do that when we were younger. You
No.
might roll your eyes
No.
walked away, but you was like, ma'am, under your breath going,
And you better not let them see you roll your eyes. You better not.
exactly. But now I don't know what transpired, but I don't even want to approach anybody's
Yeah,
child.
girl, me either. Mm-mm.
I feel
Respect.
like I just feel like things go left so fast. And this is why people are, I don't care who you are, what color you are, whatever. This is why when you see a gang of kids together, because that's what they call it, a gang of kids together, a group of kids together, you start holding your pocketbook and walking in the other direction, and you're made to feel guilty because that's your reaction. But this is why that's your reaction. It don't have nothing to do with color. You see a gang of kids coming, you don't know what's coming your way. You don't know if they're good kids. You don't know if they're bad kids. You just know it's a whole bunch of them, a big crowd coming your way. And all it takes is for one person to say one thing, and they all jump in it. They all feel like they got to help defend each other, whether they're right or they're wrong. They just jump in, and some of them do it for no reason whatsoever, just because everybody else is.
Mm.
So it's not a matter of what did I say to you? It's a matter of nobody knows how to walk away. Nobody knows how to just simply say, even as a 10-year-old, you don't know how to just walk away. So it speaks to what Celeste was saying when she's talking about how disrespectful they can be. See, it's one thing if you're in your house. I'm not saying it's right, but you in your house with your parents. And then now you might talk back a little bit, or what was called when we were growing up, talking back, sucking your teeth, or, verbally saying, I can't believe this is a mess, or I'm going to do. We might consider that to be disrespectful, but we also feel like as kids are growing up, it's part of growing up and for us to correct them. But that's within your home. That's not out in the street. That's not, you don't have any feelings whatsoever and you see a woman that's pregnant. You,
Well,
no one feels the need.
you gotta say, it starts in your home.
It does.
Because if your ass is in the home talking back to your parents and you're giving them some reverb about when they tell you to do something, oh, you feel invincible because you start with your parents. Because if you did that to did it to me, or you did it to Joanne and Nate, you're gonna find your lip twisted and you're gonna find your ass on the floor. So if that is not going on at home, guess what? When you see people out in the public, you be like, F them. I don't gotta listen to you because I can do whatever I want to do. And that's where the problem is. Start at home. If you in the house and you can't control your kid in the house, and I'm not saying to make your kids fearful where they traumatized by you, but your kids gotta have a little fear to know not to F with you. Because the
I'm
consequences of what
okay.
gonna happen is not something that you're gonna be able to deal with. Now these kids went out there and jumping somebody, like when I tell you, and Chauncey, you was my next door neighbor. Joanne and Nate didn't play that crap.
Yeah, none of our parents
That
did.
they didn't play that. When I tell you, you're gonna get snatched up. I'm talking about the front door can open. When the front door used to open at my parents' house, and the same thing went for Joey and Jose. I'm not playing with you. I am not your equivalent. Those with kids beating up on a pregnant person, they made themselves equivalent to an adult. And what if somebody would have pulled out a gun and shot them?
Then everyone would have been on their soapboxes or whatever. And
That's what
here's
I'm saying.
and here's the thing. And even though we knew better and we knew not to do it at home, I even know of kids, and even myself sometimes, you was on your best behavior when you was outside that house, sometimes even better than you were when you was in the house. You
No,
definitely better not go outside that home and
no.
show your tail, because your parents is gonna cut a rug.
Mm-mm.
And so it just is crazy. I don't
Your
understand.
ass act up in the house. You are going to get it either way. It's no negotiable line being drawn. You act up in the house because what you think as a parent, if you do this shit in the house, excuse me, if you do this in the house, you damn sure going to do this out here. And I don't want to, when you walk out of my sight, worry about you acting up. You see what I'm saying? Because I've already established this in this house. If you go in this house ballistic, why I think you ain't gonna be even more ballistic when you not around me? Cause now you ain't got nothing to worry about. Nothing.
I'm gonna let her talk because she worked with the kids. But let me just say this: if Mama out there beating up the pregnant girl down the block,
Now that part.
that-
Now that part.
Mama don't have no say. I'm just saying, they might not even be. It might not be them, but they looking at Mom. I don't care who
That's
it
what
is.
I'm
What?
saying. That's what I'm saying. They saying that they get it from somewhere. They feel that bandwidth to do this. You just not gonna go beat up no pregnant woman and no kids, and you don't feel like you ain't seen somebody in the house, even if the ringleader. Then, because there's always a ringleader. Even if the
Yes, it
ringleader
is.
led you on to do that, you already
Now they'll be
know.
like this.
No, I ain't. They
Yeah.
beat her up, but I was over here. You see what I'm saying? I didn't touch the lady. You see what I'm saying?
I'm
I ain't touch
gonna
him.
tape it.
Yeah, I took the video and I get in trouble for that, but my hands was like this. I didn't touch nobody at all. And my hands was like this. I was like this, looking up in the air. I ain't touched nobody. But okay, Keisha, I
We'll
know
say
you
it's
have something to say.
breeding kids out there.
There has been a shift, a paradigm shift in the way that um, the adults now, because I see it at school,
Mm-hmm.
with when I deal with different agencies and how they perceive or how they think that children should be. I just recently had this conversation with this lady that comes to my classroom
Mm-hmm.
and works with students. That's all I'm gonna say. So after the fact, so it's always you need to redirect, and if they're tearing up everything, then you just have to just take them out and walk. So I just stopped her and I said, where's the lack of rules? Where's the lack of consequences?
Exactly.
Where are the boundaries? I said, because we all have boundaries. We all have rules we have to follow. We all have consequences when we do certain actions. And I said, when is it going to be taught to them? And so she just kind of looked at me and I said, the things that they're doing at a young age, I said, I guarantee you, and she was of a different hue. I said, I guarantee you, if you saw that person at 13, 14, and 15, you wouldn't think the same way. And I say, as far as school's concerned, I said, tell me what is different between at here and when they go to a middle school. I said, one thing is you have your officers in there, and they're not officers to help you out. They're officers to get you a charge. And I said, because they didn't learn the rules here with me at the young age, because you all want to shift and nobody has to do anything, then this is what's going to happen there.
Girl, you hit it on
So,
point. Woo!
so
Woo!
when we see this situation right here, I'm thinking a couple of things is either that is missing,
Mm-hmm.
the lack of at home, the lack of just in general, because I find myself doing it all because I'm not even gonna go down that road. But anyway, I find that it's that something happened there. Or, and I thought about this. If you are getting ready, what if you're in a situation where there is a lot of gang activity,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to recruit the younger people or the
Mm-hmm.
younger ones trying to get in there, they have to get someone innocent
Mm-hmm.
to be able to join. Not someone that's doing something that's in there, but you get an innocent. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how they get their stripes or did. I don't know. Could be different now
Mm-hmm.
to be in a gang. So I'm thinking, is that gang thing? What's going on? Don't know because I don't know those sort everything that's going on. I don't know what the lady said or did, but I know something was totally wrong in that
Mm-hmm.
situation
Mm-hmm.
all the way around.
Yeah.
And what I used to ask my kids, my daughter, she could tell you, first of all, I say, when I ask, how was your day? Did you get bullied today? No, Mom. Did you bully someone? Did you do the bullying? I
Mm-hmm.
see, I know my daughter, she can fight. She's not a bully, but she can back people off her. Little thing, I was like, Lord, my little child. Little thing, she gonna back you off. Oh, she's tough now. She's tough. She's
Be tough.
a
Yeah,
firecracker. So I was
right.
like, what did you do? No, Mom, I didn't. I said, okay, because I didn't make sure you in the
Mm-hmm.
right. Don't let me find out that you're doing the bullying. No, Mom, I
Listen,
get people off me.
because
I get
what I
people off
know
me.
is, so
Yeah.
I know one of mine got the
Woo.
mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but not a bad kid,
Mm-hmm.
not a disrespectful kid. Got a mouth,
Right.
and the mouth to us is every time I tell you to do something, you coming back at me. That's different than a kid that's disrespectful, like
Mm-hmm.
utterly disrespectful, right? And so, but like you said, the paradigm shift. So we went from growing up, we couldn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What Celeste say? Nothing. We couldn't say nothing, right? We couldn't roll our eyes. We couldn't do this, but when we came along with our kids, and even though we were on top of them, you still by the time they got to be 15, oh, why I got to do it? Is that
Mine
talking
did
back?
not do that shit.
Okay.
I'm
And
just gonna be
so
honest.
why I got to do it? And that was
No.
the argument with my kid, right? But the difference is you got to know your kid as well.
Mm-mm.
Don't go up to that school when the school is telling you something happened. You know if that's your kid or not.
Yeah, it's
You know
a
if
whole
it's
group of people doing that crap, but I
you
got
know what I mean?
you.
You know if that's your kid when they tell you. I can go to bat for you at school because I know you well enough in what you do. So if they come at me with something that's completely outside your character, no, that we not I'm not saying it ain't possible. I'm saying that ain't them. What we gonna do about it? And
Mm-hmm.
so we need to have an understanding of what is happening. But you out there with your kid all willy-nilly. Where are these kids and why are they with this woman
I
who with
mean,
her kids, and
think
you jumping them.
think about it, Chauncey. Think about the situation just happened probably like 2 years ago of the 14-year-old that was out at 3 in the morning and the police officer shot him because he actually had a gun. Now, first and foremost, you 14, why are you out? You
Why
know what I
are
mean?
you
Why
out?
are you out? And I'm gonna say, like, if I did anything different from my parents was only one thing. I let my kids be able to say stuff to me, but you could not say it in a way where I thought it was disrespectful because I told you I don't even
The
care if
tone,
you
the
the
tone with
tone.
it,
Because if you
The
even say
tone.
why I got to
tone.
do that, you better not be doing your head jerking to why I got to do that,
My
okay?
son is
Because now you're
34.
disrespectful. But my both of my kids, they both was not the most I would say they was nothing like me. Nothing like me because I grew up in the inner city and they did not. You see what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
they were totally different from me. And my son, I will give you a perfect example, and Keisha probably remember this. My son was so happy go lucky when he was a little person. But when he got to middle school, they bullied him so terribly. Jose was like a stick fighting all the time. And it changed his whole personality. Now he is very select about people. And I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it withdrew him from people because he just did not feel comfortable anymore. Jose used to dance like he was Michael Jackson, rolling around. He was happy like that. He loved music. Went to middle school. Keisha tell all the time I'm up there because he fighting big kids. And Jose didn't grow like he tall now, but Keisha can tell you he was a little person for a long time. They threw his little curly head self around, but Jose would fight back. But it took something out of him. But I used to have to encourage him. You see what I'm saying? Encourage him. That's why I go back to it's in the house. Because if your mom on the internet and she breaking it down and stuff, and I see people, parents on the internet with scantily dressed and looking crazy and they not 20, they not even 30, they 40 and they just out there and you think your kid don't see you, you know what I mean? Or they got a disagreement. This is the big one. They got a disagreement with somebody. Now they on social media cussing out somebody, acting like they lost their mind. You think your kid don't see that? Because it ain't just physical hitting and all that. It's the disrespect they see you doing, and they feel like, hey, I can go do that now. And I could say the same thing you say, Keisha. These undercover gangs going on, they gotta find innocent victims. You know what I mean? Either kill you, beat you, or whatever. Because what fool would go up and beat on a pregnant woman? You see what I'm saying?
And wasn't her children younger?
They were younger.
Like little?
They little like
And
six
see,
and five.
that's why I questioned it. I was like, so if
Why are you doing that?
you're gonna fight a
I
younger person?
actually have a firecracker kid.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is book, and she ready for you.
Who?
And
Jeanette.
she really don't care. Danae, she really don't care
Yeah,
who you
yeah,
are. But
yeah.
I have heard her
She didn't
say,
play. She didn't play.
"You lucky how my mother raised me."
Mm-hmm. Jeanette ain't
She
play.
already
I want to hire
this
her
some
for some things.
I'm getting. They called me one time. I shouldn't have said her name. And she was like, "Mom, I got a problem up here at the movie theater." But she knew I was that mom that was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
On two, I get all the way up to the movie theater. I said, "Who is it? Who was it?" She pointed to the cop. Him right there. I said, "Oh, I'm proud of him." But she came. I take care of that. Not you. I take
Right,
care of that.
right, right.
The reflection, the charge, whatever it is, it's going to fall on me. So you let
Yeah.
me take care of that. Of course, you don't sit there and let yourself get beat up. But if I could have a firecracker train to be respectful,
Girl, girl,
you know what I'm saying? And to this day,
girl.
she'll tell you, I respect my elders, but I'm going to need you to stop bothering me.
And I
And then,
know her
and I,
child. I know her child, and I'm telling you, I used to do her child head, and I'm telling you, she could
Ready to
be
fight.
hot as fish grease, and she gonna be respectful. She holding it
But she
back.
better
She
know
gonna be
if Kim had
respectful.
said she had a problem with her, I'd have took her neck off and she wouldn't have had to do her hair no more. She wouldn't have had no.
'cause
Yeah,
that happened to my daughter in college. She was somebody was bullying her roommate, and they actually came to the dorm to confront her. And my daughter was like passed by and she was like, they're looking for her. So my daughter doubled back because she said, well, I'm not gonna let you beat my roommate up. And so it was something that was going on in my little thing. So I guess it was some swinging or whatever going on. And so, but it was a tape. So they sent them down to the office. So we found out about it in college. So Jay said, roll tape, just roll the tape and see what happened. And so we did, and she said, if you notice, and then she went on to explain, she didn't end up getting in trouble, but the girl did because they came to initiate it and they were where they were supposed to be.
Exactly.
Her roommate. And then later on, my daughter was dorm director, and she was up, just older dorm, by herself. And some other girls had come and knocked on her door, and it was like two or three of them. And my daughter was living in the room like by herself. And one girl, she's like, I'm from New York, whatever. She said, it don't matter. And she said, if you would notice a couple years ago, I already got a charge. Look, she ain't got no charge. I already got a charge. And I'm doing whatever. Now she looked, she said, and I backed them right on up out of my room. They didn't do anything. They walked away because I guess her mouth scared them all. But I was like, oh, Jaden, whatever. Yeah, so that happened. I was like, man, if they don't get themselves together down there, they gonna hear different.
See, my
Me.
kids was always the
They
tallest one.
better leave my baby alone. Leave her alone because she ain't
Yeah.
nobody. But
I think because we have to represent our kids. You see what I'm saying? Because we know what kind of children we raise.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And that's where it goes back to. I don't know what these kids think about the legal system, but if you get yourself hooked up in the legal system, it's not going to be an easy feat for them children or them parents. It's a long journey. And I'm just saying, not even to say think before you do something, you better know before you do something because
And
that's
y'all
the
know,
only difference.
y'all hear Billy all the time. Billy worked with adjudicated youth for almost 20 years. Remember his side business? That's what he did. They were murderers, rapists, and had these baby faces. And I was like, they are so sweet and so cute.
Yeah.
He's like, don't trust them. I was like, he was like, don't trust them. He was like, Chance, you too suburban. I'm like, what? He was like, you've been in the suburbs too long. You can't trust these kids. And I was like, oh
That is
wow.
so sad.
He had to give it up. He had to give it up because
yeah,
it was getting too dangerous. He
yeah.
didn't know who he had riding around in his car when he's trying to advocate for them.
Oh God.
Right.
And so it's like when kids start sliding down in the back of the car and they don't want to be seen, and he's like, somebody be done shot my truck up. I can't
It
get them.
shot you.
And shot him. And
Exactly.
so he was like, I need to let it go. He was like, I'm getting too old for this and it's getting too
That's so
dangerous.
sad. That's so sad. Well, I
So
just say this
No
in
conflict
closing.
resolution. No
Yeah.
yeah,
conflict
no
resolution.
conflict
Yeah.
no conflict
They don't even
resolution
have that
skills.
at all.
Yeah.
There is no middle ground. You know what
Nope.
I mean? At all. It's just going from we went to A, we went to Z quickly. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nothing else. And I'm just saying, we just not in the times where you want to be hooked up into this legal stuff with not even
Agreed.
having a prayer. I'm just saying,
Agreed.
these kids, people don't, you just can't have them and think they're gonna be self-made and
They
turn out
can't
to
raise
be.
themselves. They
Yeah,
I know
cannot
they
that's
raise
what
can't.
they are
themselves.
doing.
I
That's
know
what
they
they're
can't.
doing.
They cannot raise themselves.
And I'm thinking my kid's been out of school 11 years or something like that. Well, I'm just talking about out of the high school 11 years. And I remember clearly going up to the high school, going up to the middle school, and watching the parents say these things and around their kids, and then the kids saying something crazy back. I used to be like, I would find myself saying to my kid, "Oh, if you ever say that," I remember this one lady, and then we're gonna close it. This one lady was dropping off her daughter, and I had just took Joey to the dentist because she wore braces, and she was getting her braces tuned up or some crap, and she dropped her daughter off, and you had to go to this little window and check them in because after the school started, the girl went and told my, I told you I didn't want to be here. I was looking like I felt myself twisting towards Joey. Joey was waiting like doo 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 doo. So the mom went up there, was getting ready to sign her. The girl walked out the door and left. I said, Joey, if you ever do that, And Joe was like, Mom, why you gonna try to link me into that stuff like that? I was like, I'm just warning you now, just in case you smell
I'm gonna
something
put it out
that
there.
something in the air that got up your nose and hit your brain and made you think you needed to do that. I said,
Mhm.
because the police would need to come. And she said, okay, Mom, just sign me in because you get mad and I didn't even do you know, I said, I signed her in. Joey went to her class, and I'm talking now to the lady at the desk. I said, did you see that girl leave here? She said, yeah, that girl do that all the time. I said, yo, what do y'all do about that? She said, we just can't do anything. She said, eventually, I guess she'll just drop out of school. See, like, there's no checks and balances anymore.
Exactly.
You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? There's no checks and balances. I just told y'all what the parent was dealing with, and the school is their hands tied too. You see
And,
what
and
I'm saying?
They don't want the little girl there because if she ain't listening to her mama, don't bring her here.
It was she
and
walked
Call
out the
me.
place.
I found that they don't know their roles, the parents. They,
What you mean you
they
don't
don't
know
know
your
that
role? You a
they don't know
parent.
where they're supposed because they ask, well, what do you do? I said, do they do that with you? Uh-huh. What do you do? I don't know what to do. I said, okay.
Oh
Can't
Lord.
control her.
Mm,
That's why I
They
said
called me in middle school
yeah.
and
mm,
said, hey, cursed out the teacher at my good Verizon paying job.
mm.
And I got in the car, came to the school, marched to the annex, beat the brakes off her ass, and got back in the car.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher was like, I said, don't you ever embarrass me like that. You understand? Are they calling me at my job? How? The teacher was like this. Ooh, really? You embarrassing me like that?
You better
You
not.
cussing.
You better not.
Let me tell y'all, y'all know we went to Catholic school right around the corner from where I lived at, and I just remember one time, you know how our little seats was and little you put your books under your seat and stuff. Well, I had papers sticking out of my book, right? And the nun said, "I'm gonna call your mother because I told you that you're too sloppy," just like that. When I tell you, I literally cried all day. I mean, all day. You remember how we had to walk out? You had to walk in a single line, and I thought I was in the clear, and she didn't call. When I got through the gate, Chauncey on 11th Street,
Uh-huh. Yep.
mother was sitting right there. I done had a note pinned to me. I just act like I just now need the ambulance to come because I just fell to the ground. And my mom, guess what? She wasn't even there for that. She didn't even know. But I just knew my tail was going to be in trouble. Now I was going to get in trouble because on the note tells exactly that I
What
was
happened?
being neat. You see what I'm saying? But like I didn't, my parents ain't play with me, and they wasn't in there crucifying me. They had to just tell me, you know what I mean? If you do this, ooh, I could just imagine what's gonna happen to me. You see what I'm saying? But the day I think that block is gone. When you say that, Keisha, that the parents is asking you, I'll be like, I'm the teacher, you the parent. Hey, go get a class or something like that, or get around some people, get in a support group or something. Because apparently you're around somebody who don't know how to parent, and you don't either, and you wasn't parent right. You see what I'm saying? Because that stuff carried down.
Defense, it might not even be that. It'd be that you was playing them like they were your friend. Now they don't
And that's
respect.
another thing.
That's the
Yeah,
worst.
Now they don't
you're right.
respect you.
You're
And you
right.
said about fear. I like fear. I feared my mother. My kids
I
fear
did
me.
too.
That
Yeah.
works fine for us. It works fine.
That wasn't gonna
Not
work.
scared that I would be abused, but scared that I
Right.
would disappoint. Scared that I would fall short
That
of what
one.
she expected of me.
That right
That
there.
part. That part.
That part. All right, y'all. Great episode, though. We feel very.
You know, got me hot.
I know we all good mamas, so very passionate. Have a wonderful week on purpose. Don't carry this with you to tomorrow. You know what I mean? We're gonna pray for these people.
That
Right.
we are.
You're
That
gonna
we
pray
are.
for these, you're gonna pray for these people because we need lots of prayer now. Pray for these
Listen, we're
people.
praying for God to give calm, clarity, and provision. So
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Absolutely, y'all.
For
Absolutely,
sure.
y'all. So have a wonderful week on purpose. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.
Bye.